first thing you notice about driving the Maserati is that wonderful growly engine sound. It really is a beautiful noise to be driving behind. It's a lovely interior to be sitting in as well, this tan leather with suede set into it, with the briar wood on the dashboard, lovely little details like the Maserati name set into it in marquetry and that classy little clock. Very clear instrument layout with those nice dials, 7 of them sitting there. The gearbox is excellent, a really sweet change. Slightly unusual layout with a dog leg first and then the other ratios grouped together. It does mean that the 5th to 4th change, which is the one you most commonly want for overtaking, is very convenient. A couple of little faults. I think it's very strange that the car in this price range doesn't have a standard radio, and the 2 door mirrors are very difficult to see into. The glass area is too small. But those details apart, I think it's a glorious car to drive. The heart of the Maserati is a lusty twin-turbocharged engine, hence the name biturbo. It's a 2.5-litre, 6-cylinder, 18-valve motor, and its potential top speed is around 135 miles an hour. More important, though, to owners in this country will be the very lively acceleration. It's around 6.5 seconds from stationary to 60 miles an hour. Fuel consumption, though, is rather on the heavy side. You don't necessarily expect high-performance cars like these to be practical, but in fact, this one is. It has a really good-sized boot back here, room for 2 average-sized family suitcases, a lot of other oddments besides, and there's room for more luggage behind the front seats, because although it looks like a 2+2, it isn't, so you can get a big suitcase in there. And that, of course, is because the engine is here at the front. It's a very squashed engine compartment, not much room in there, but the sort of people who buy these cars don't want to do their own maintenance anyway. But that's where the Lotus differs. It has its engine at the back. There it is, even more squashed in space than in the Maserati, and it leaves a tiny amount of room behind it for luggage. You can get 1 small squashy suitcase in there and not a lot else. In fact, it's about half the boot space of the Maserati. A few more oddments can fit in the front, but it's only a pure 2-seater. The essence of this car, though, is all about performance. It's a very quick car, this Turbo Lotus, and it feels it, especially in the vivid acceleration, which seems to shove you in the back, with a 0 to 60 time of 5.5 seconds. The top speed is more than double the legal limit. This new higher compression Lotus's power output is 215 brake horsepower, which is a really big belt of power from a 2.2-litre 4-cylinder engine. It's a little less thirsty than the Maserati, and it comes with a 2-year warranty against the biturbo's 1 year. Inside the Lotus, it feels a bit as if you're in a racing car cockpit. It's quite claustrophobic, everything's hugging in around you, the controls are all wrapped around in front, and you sit very low on the road. Other traffic all seems higher up. The view through the rear mirror is really very poor. You can't see a lot, and although there's oceans of beautiful leather in this car, it's £1,000 extra on the price.
Thank you. Well, you'd have to be something of a car buff to know at a glance that this was the 1987 Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit, because the outward signs are very few and far between, really only a deeper front spoiler. But under the skin, there are nearly 2,000 modifications and improvements, some of them very significant. Anti-lock braking, for example, electronic fuel injection, electric memory seats, improved air conditioning. Lots of detail improvements to give you a more smooth and silent ride. So smooth and silent that on this occasion I'm very happy to sit here in the back and be chauffeured along.
By replacing the carburetors with fuel injection, there's a dramatic improvement in response, power and economy. The answer from Rolls-Royce when you ask for the output is sufficient, but the power is up 20% and fuel consumption is certainly better. Inevitably, though, this heavily built machine is thirsty. You'd be lucky to do much more than 15 to the gallon in mixed motoring. But there are anti-lock brakes at last, a bigger alternator and a quieter starter motor.
Well, it's all very well having these delusions of grandeur about owning a chauffeured Rolls, but I've got some fast driving to do, so I'm off to the circuit in the Bentley Turbo R.
Pushed hard around the Hungara Ring, the newly built circuit which now stages the latest addition to the Grand Prix calendar, the Turbo R quickly reveals a character quite distinct from the Silver Spirit. It has a much more resilient suspension and a lot more urge. Yes, there is still some roll through the corners, but the car's remarkably agile for its size. And if it does start to break away in a fast bend, it is easily controllable. Fuel injection has boosted the engine output, producing a 0 to 60 of less than 8 seconds and a maximum speed which is truly off the clock. The turbo speedo reads to 140 mph. In ideal conditions, the flat-out speed is a bit more than that. In fact, it's the sort of car which will certainly appeal to a successful young entrepreneur, somebody who wants the status and prestige of the Bentley make, but with handling and performance which is anything but sedate.
Of course, you have to remember that the sort of person who's going to pay nearly £80,000 for his super luxury high-performance saloon wants the very best of everything. So a lot of the detail improvements that have been made into this car bring it up to the standard that that sort of owner would like. The air conditioning's been improved, the seats are better shaped to hold you through the corners. They're now electrically controlled and you can put them into a memory so you can come back to your own position. The dash is better. Lots of little detail changes that go with all this walnut and leather that add up to the sumptuous quality that is Bentley.
My overall judgment? I was impressed by the way the Bentley delivered its ample power and the tenacity of its handling at the limit. It is beautifully built and feels as though it'll last forever. But I can't help feeling that a big BMW or a Jaguar at a half or even a third of the Bentley's price has to be the more logical buy.